Protesters clashing with police this week outside the Libyan embassy in Paris. They were driven to protest by the revelation that some immigrants and refugees in Libya are being traded and sold as slaves.
700. 700?
Hidden camera footage obtained by CNN shows the auctioneer boasting big, strong boys for farm work.
Off camera, someone asks, what happened to the ones from Niger? Sold off, he's told.
Thousands of desperate people from across sub-Saharan Africa routinely pour through Libya's borders, hoping to make it to Europe. But a clampdown on boats crossing the Mediterranean has meant smugglers are looking for new ways to offload their human cargo.
I honestly don't know what to say. That was probably one of the most unbelievable things I've ever seen.
CNN senior international correspondent Nema El-Bagher is part of the team that investigated this story in Libya and broadcast it around the world. Nema, incredible reporting. I mean, it's really something to watch, and so I can only imagine what it was like to watch it in person. As we see you physically walk up to this auction, why did the auctioneers believe that you were there?
Well, as they understood it, we were there looking for someone. I'm from Sudan, and I speak Arabic, so I was able to say that I thought that I had heard a Sudanese accent amongst the men that were being sold. But I think it also speaks to a bigger point, which is that actually the degree of brazenness amongst these people is extraordinary, and that's, of course, because of the security situation in Libya. So while they were a little perturbed to see two women, myself and my producer, Raja Razik, walk in, the reality is they weren't afraid. And I think in a way that's almost even more horrifying. They didn't feel the need to stop what they were doing. So while our cover story allowed us to be able to speak with them and get them on record admitting that this was an auction and getting them to describe how many people they'd sold and where these people were from, realistically, I'm not even sure we really needed a cover story to be able to get in there.
We see your reaction afterward as you talk to camera, just sort of, I think, shocked yourself that this has unfolded in front of you. Tell us more about what that was like, because you've covered a number of stories around Africa that many people would find difficult. This one, though, seemed to really catch you.
I think it's probably very different being in a situation where it's a front line or, you know, there's an active conflict going on, and that's usually where you tend to see some of the more horrible things. That, in a way, is almost more easy to process. It is so much more difficult to see that level of just utter inhumanity, the reality that people will make money in any ways they can, no matter what the cost is, and they will rationalize why they're doing this and what it means to the people that are caught there. And when you speak to those who are more tangential, not the actual auctioneers, but are more tangential to the entire smuggling trade, they seem to feel like they're actually providing a service. You know, these people want to get to Europe and we're getting them to Europe. And I think for me, that was what was really shocking. The mental hoops that we will jump through to justify the things that we do to each other.
The footage has certainly garnered attention worldwide. We're here in Canada talking about it. What has come of this story?
It seems to really have had an incredibly visceral reaction, and I don't know whether it's because this is something that we've been hearing murmurs about for a while. So it's almost like someone tells you that the worst possible thing that you hoped wasn't still happening, still was. And I think perhaps part of that reaction is people feel like we thought that we had put it behind us. And perhaps there's also a little part of that that speaks, especially in the African diaspora. It's had a huge response amongst African Americans in the US, African migrant population in Paris. And I think that's because this is still so recent in human history. And to be told that no matter how horrible things are, no matter how overt racism or how systemic racism is in Europe or in the US or even in Canada, the issues about the way that the indigenous populations in Canada were treated, all of that are ramifications of a distant past. And to actually find out that, no, this isn't in the past, that this happens now, this is happening as we speak, I think that's what people were responding to.
Nema, great to talk to you, and again, terrific work.
Thank you so much.